Alrighty. So, welcome to a podcast that might just be something I do every once in a while, but basically, welcome to the No Outlet podcast. And I'm your host, Taylor McAllister, pretty epic name. Um, so I thought it'd be a cool idea to do a podcast. How tradition with basically anything that you do for the first time, it's always going to be horrible. So bear with me. The mic quality is not going to be as good, and nor was I really planning on doing anything crazy with this. And if it does get bigger, then I might do something with it. But I'm just doing it for fun because I don't know who doesn't like listening to podcasts nowadays. Everyone seems to be doing them. Anyways, so so I thought for a topic of discussion, we could talk about some outdated shit, i.e., the whole downhill Bethesda thing. I've kind of had a not a different take on it, but just kind of my own personal take on it because I've actually endured the shitstorm that was Fallout 76. Um, yeah, that game, it was not a very good game. I can confirm indefinitely. I did get a bunch of shit because actually I genuinely did find enjoyment out of that game for a bit before it literally just became a grind sesh. And I'm not that big of a fan of grinding games. I say that and I have Borderlands, but that's completely besides the point. Um, I guess we should just get into Todd and his sweet little lies. So basically, E3, E3 2018, yeah, 2018, I think. I think it was, yeah. So E3 2018 rolls around, and out comes this announcement by Bethesda um, about, holy shit, there's a new Fallout game coming out, and everyone is freaking the fuck out. And then Todd comes out on stage, the Todd Howard. He comes out on stage and he's just like, "Yo, what's up? Um, we're making a new Fallout game, and it's going to be better graphics, better engine, I think." I don't know if he specified that it was a new engine, but I know he said something about it being like a definitely like way better technology to make their game look a lot better, which at points when I did play that game, did look pretty good. Not so much in some areas of the game, but anyways, so he just comes out. He's just like, all right, it's gonna be multiplayer. He's just yoinks all these promises out, and um, so fast forward, everyone's hyped. Fast forward to November of 2018, Fallout 76 comes out, and it is just a glitch fest and a shit show. Now, I mean, granted, most Bethesda games that were published in-house were already pretty glitchy and just all around, not to the point of unplayable, but they definitely had their fair share of glitches. But yeah, so he he kind of just he pulls basically a no man, like Bethesda pulls a No Man's Sky. I mean, as everyone says, I mean that's basically like the standard. Everyone just does that, and they're just like, oh yeah, No Man's Sky, right? He did a bunch of promises and none of them came to fruition. Um, anyways, so the whole just situation got just exploded because you just saw like thousands of like Twitch clips just be just showing off all the numerous bugs and glitches that um, were in the game, and there were actually some I encountered, as I think most people did, encountered a good amount of glitches in that game, and they they definitely reported it. Um, they weren't game break. At least the ones that I experienced were not game breaking glitches. The ones that I've seen that other people have, they're really game breaking. Um, I think it was very embarrassing to see that like um, some of the old Fallout 4 glitches were still in the game, and I think that just blew everyone away. But so everyone was just like, "Oh my God, this is a horrible game," and it was a really just rough game all around. And so uh, I started playing it with my friend, and I genuinely enjoyed it for a little bit. It was it wasn't the best game I've ever played, but it wasn't the worst game I ever played. And um, I kind of just I kind of went with it. I got a bunch of shit from my friends whenever talked about it, but yeah, I mean, compared to the previous installments in the series, I mean, obviously you're gonna get some shit if you like that because people are like, "Oh, you're unfaithful," or "You're like a fake fan because you like Fallout 76." I mean, it's kind of like just a little branch off of like just shitting on people. I mean, for what they like. But yeah, so I mean it happens for no apparent reason. People will just give anyone shit for liking something that was inherently bad to um, the whole like the general audience. But yeah, so they released the game and just it gets slammed and just a shit show. And like all of the important people at Bethesda on Twitter are just completely just just MIA. They're all gone. They just like not they're not tweeting out anything that even alludes to it. I don't even think what was the community director. His name was like Pete Hines. Yeah, Pete Hines. He Pete Haynes or Pete Hines. He completely just went silent, just nothing on Twitter when all this was happening. And I mean, granted, I don't respect it. I understand why he might do that because he's definitely afraid of the immense backlash that he would get from anything that he'd post. But at the same time, you're the community director of a was um, or has been respected company in gaming, and then you kind of just go completely dark. You don't say anything about how just immensely flawed your newest installment is in a very popular series. And I feel like it's kind of scummy that they did that at the same time because they definitely should have addressed the stuff. And obviously the damage control was horrible. They really, really did not do a good job on that. Um, i.e., whenever someone uh, just emailed Bethesda customer support, it was just a shit show of misinformation and just complete and utter just bullshit that they were throwing at you. Um, I have no doubt in my mind that they didn't release that game with full acknowledgement that it was a just shit show of glitches. Which I mean, I feel like in my eyes, Fallout 76 is probably the quintessential example of what not to do in mainstream gaming because it seems like the consumer is finally really wizened up to companies and publishers like just bullshit and the consumer, which is good that they're demanding actual finished products for their hard-earned money instead of an unfinished mess, i.e., Fallout 76, and on top of that, even more IPs that have been released. No Man's Sky, I think, was the one of the first. I wouldn't say one of the first, but definitely a good example of unfinished games. I'd also say, yeah, I'd say Fallout 76 and No Man's Sky. Those are kind of like the those yeah, those are the main offenders of we're gonna push this out way too early for the consumers and just let them do it because they're kind of just impatient at that point. And the other thing about it is the game was extreme. Like there was a shit ton of people working on the game, which just I mean, it just baffles me that um so many people worked on this game and it just came out like a piece of shit. Like I was in awe when I found out like how many people worked on this game. Let me search it up real quick. But yeah, I mean it was crazy to see that. Just how many um just how many studios worked on it because there was a there's a pretty good amount. Um Granted they're still using the same engine, so um there might have been actually no, never mind that. Um Regardless, it's crazy just how many like just how many developers and or just studios that I mean, granted they're all a part of Bethesda. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure just a lot of it was made by in. I don't think it was made. It was made by in-house and other branches of Bethesda made Fallout 76, and I just think it was crazy that of just how many people worked on it, how just horrible it came out. It kind of just show it kind of just it was kind of just a case in point of hey, this is what I mean. I'm assuming there might have been something going on in the company where something just happened to be like, hey, we're gonna release this way too fucking early, and then we'll just fix it then. And I mean, obviously, now that the consumers definitely wisened up in a sense over the years because I'm assuming people are sick and tired of getting exploited or yeah, basically just exploited for their money. And would exploited be the word? Anyways, um, so yeah, it comes out. Everyone just hates it, um, and just a wave of just criticism. I mean, there's little to no praise for the game when it's launched and the following months. Um, and everyone was just like, okay, this is just a hit to Bethesda. There's no way this can get bad, or sorry, not bad, worse, right? And then which leads into the whole collector's edition fiasco, which I think people are now or just recently started getting their canvas bags that are also a piece of shit. They were promised. So the collector's edition is shown and announced at E3 along with Fallout 76, and they show you like everything that comes in it, and one of them is the official picture, which is a duffel bag, and it has like all the collector's stuff. It has like the map and everything, and the power armor helmet, which has a bag that you carry it in, pretty sure, and it's an actual genuine like canvas bag, which if you know anything about canvas is a really nice material, especially in apparel. It's pretty durable. I mean, Converse are made out of it. Um, Anyways, so to the dismay of those who spent a lot of money on that collector's edition, they received a nylon bag instead. Um, and that kind of raised the heat a bit, and everyone was just like, okay, what the hell's going on? So people started messaging Bethesda tech support, asking, hey, where's my canvas bag? And one of the one of the representatives just throws out a fucking banger of a banger of a response to that. Basically just saying, hey, we're a company of a net worth over of millions of dollars. And you know what? We just it was too expensive to ship out a limited run of canvas bags. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Bethesda. Okay, so it looks like Bethesda Softworks' net worth is estimated up to 2.5 billion. That is quite a bit of money. And um, if we're just going off of this, which this article is published in March 27th of this year, 2019. If it is in, if it is if it is two, what is it, 2.5 billion dollars, that should be no problem for a company of that size, of that net worth, of that gross, to not have the extra money to just do a simple limited time run of canvas bags. I mean, it was kind of just stupid not to. Um, so, but yeah, so people start messaging them. They get some really shitty responses in response. They get some really shitty answers from tech support, and they're like, "What the hell?" So people start absolutely rioting over this. I watched basically this entire thing go down day by day because it seemed literally every time I went on Twitter, every day, there was just a new thing, new controversy surrounding Bethesda. Um, so yeah, so they go ahead and issue an apology, and they're like, okay, we're gonna give you guys 500 atoms, and atoms is a in-game currency that can be earned via just playing the game or buying it, i.e., microtransactions. Every consumer's absolute favorite item. Um, so they decide to uh, compensate for, I think 100 atoms is worth $1, so they compensated a collector's edition, which was, I think, $250. Let me see here. Um, Around that, it was ridiculous how much you paid for the actual thing, um, and what you got for it. Yeah, okay. So it looks like it was it was $200. So you're paying $200 for a collector's edition, and they're saying that this canvas bag, as a compensation, they're going to give you $5 for it. That's not how you treat your consumers. You don't just brush it off like it's nothing and then say, "Oh, no, we're fine." No. What you do is you address the actual issue with what has happened, and uh, you compensate for it fairly and not just by, okay, we're just going to brush this off. Um, that is the complete opposite of what Bethesda did, and people had to riot again to get another response out of Bethesda. This time, them being ever so kind to ship the people who bought the canvas bags a complete replacement in a small, short time of about 6 to 9 months before you get the bag. After this is 6 to 9 months after you submit the ticket, which I'm pretty sure at this point the game had already been out for maybe 2 to 3 months. So we're already into the next year. I could be wrong on that. It could have been maybe the first or second month of the game being released, but it was fairly early for that controversy, or not controversy, but that whole situation just explode. Um, and so they're like, okay, let's here's the thing. You could just go to our website, submit a ticket with I think it was the card that you used to buy. I think they said something about your payment method that you used. street address, and so that they could send you a new one, and then like your order number or something, so that they could confirm. And turns out Bethesda's website just was working a little funny and decided to leak all the personal information of the people who they didn't really leak it, so to say. It was a glitch in the actual website that made it so that users trying to submit a ticket could also see other users who submitted a ticket and could view that, which contained personal information like an address and some other stuff. I don't think I heard something about credit cards when I was doing a little bit of research, but this is all coming off the top of my head right now. Yeah, so regardless, personal information could be viewed through that bug in the website. They after numerous reports immediately following it, they immediately shut down the website, and they didn't shut it down, but they took it down for a little bit to iron that out, so that obviously their consumers were protected. Uh, so basically, after that, everything was fine and well, right? That is where you're wrong, Skippy. What we have next is after the whole canvas bag fiasco, which was recording the 13th of September 2019. Probably should have said the date at the beginning of the thing. But basically, what happened was I think people are now just getting their canvas bags or have already received them. I could be wrong, but people have been waiting or have waited a long time to get those canvas bags. And when they showed up, they were actually also dog shit, um, according to the people who actually got them. And that's just, I don't know, it was just really shitty. Um, what ended up happening after that followed a series of just horrible game changes, making the game much grindier. I don't think that might be a word. Um, and honestly, just making it extremely tedious to play the actual game, which in turns executed a good amount of the player base because they kind of just got tired of this shit. I recently played it around June or July. I recently reinstalled Fallout 76 and played it again, and I immediately realized why I hated that game so much. Um, the other thing about it is Bethesda, I think maybe after it was a very short time after release that they immediately stopped taking refunds. Um, because everyone just immediately got wise to how shit the game was. But on to our next controversy. Really cool. So Bethesda's like, okay, so we're gonna be releasing an alcohol line for our Nuka-Cola brand, which is I don't understand why you wouldn't know, but uh, just if you don't know, Nuka-Cola is the Coca-Cola ripoff brand for the Fallout kind of games, and they're releasing this new product called Nuka Dark Rum, which is an alcoholic beverage, obviously rum. And by the looks of it, it was $80, 80 something dollars for one bottle, and so they showed it off, and it looked like a complete glass bottle, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, this thing looks awesome! This would be an amazing display piece." And so obviously people went extremely crazy for this. This was around the holiday season. I think it might have been in November when they announced it and released it for order. And what follows is a shitstorm of just bad quality, and as people like to call it now, the Fallout 76 quality that the consumers have come so familiar to. I've just become really familiar with that quality coming from Bethesda. Um, so yeah, so they release it, and for some reason, it's taking literally forever for these things to be shipped out. So people who bought them started asking tech support, and to no avail. There was no response for a while, and then all of a sudden, they got a little video, and lo and behold, the worst part of it, the actual bottle that the rum was held in was to be assumed of it was going to be made of glass. There was no specification in the actual product description that said anything um, about it being a plastic shell with a rum bottle inside of it, which is exactly what people saw when they saw that. I actually had to take a double look at the I had to watch the video a couple times because I didn't understand why people were mad at it. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm just blind. But yeah, so people got extremely pissed off at it, and I thought it was pretty funny. Um, and overall, it was just a shit show. And eventually, people got the thing. Obviously, no one was happy about it. And from the taste test that I saw, the bottle was extremely inconvenient to pour out of the plastic shell and the bottle with them both together. It was extremely inconvenient because it would just spill. And apparently, according to the people who actually tasted it and who are like, I guess, alcohol beverage experts, they said it was really cheap and really shitty rum at that. So you had that. um, so yeah, I mean, it was just another hit to Bethesda. Um, and then came the thing where people were actually trying to sue Bethesda for how shitty the game was. It was a very small thing. I haven't heard much about it. I think there might be still something going on about it. That's definitely very good grammar. There still might be something in the works of that. I don't know personally, but I actually have to go record a podcast back to back. I'm recording this one right after, or before. But yeah, so and then E3, yeah, E3 2019 rolls around. I kind of addressed most of the big controversies, the kind of hard hitters that really kind of made Bethesda go from a, oh my god, these are the people who made Skyrim and Fallout, even though everyone says the best Fallout is New Vegas. I personally like 3 a lot better. But yeah, regardless, they were a pretty respected um, game company until then. I should mention something about the Atomic Shop. They're extremely overpriced items in there, and we're making consumers spend about $30 for a really shitty like bed in game or something like that. It was a lot of really just useless shit that you could buy for an ungodly amount of money. Um, and then you also have the they finally started kind of trying to bring things back, but that game is, in my opinion, very far from saving. Um, the I guess the last thing I'd want to talk about in this podcast is how they addressed it. E3 2019 rolls around. Probably the one E3 that I was actually genuinely psyched for because I've been looking forward to seeing some more Doom Eternal gameplay. That game looks fucking amazing. Glad that they're bringing Mick Gordon back for the game. He's beyond words good with soundtracks. Doom 2016 more than well proves it. But basically, Todd comes out and they do address it. And in my eyes, I saw it as not a plea for forgiveness or anything like that. Todd just came out and was just like, "Hey, we messed up. We're sorry. Let's try and not do this again." That's what I saw. That was my own personal interpretation of um, that particular conference. And I mean, he obviously he didn't address everything that we went over in this podcast, but he did a pretty good job at kind of saying, hey, more than anything, we well deserved all of the shit that we got for what we did to this game and to our consumers. Um, but yeah, and then they showed some shit about the battle royale games or the battle royale mode, which everyone was fucking. I don't know if anyone was being excited for that. Maybe the dude who was screaming out in the crowd every 2 minutes was, but yeah. Um, regardless, I think that really that well sums up the whole Bethesda just shit show that happened in less than a year span, honestly, or about a year. But yeah, it was just a shit show, and it was amazing to just watch this all unfold and just every day just look at my timeline and just see that some happened to Bethesda. But I really wish they could have handled it a bit better on community side. Um, really wish they could have done that a little bit better, but guess they couldn't. So, anyways, uh, regardless, I guess it's in the past, and let's hope that they don't do any more slip-ups like this again. I recently played Rage 2. I think that was the most recent release after 76. Um, not the greatest game I've ever played. Um, I will give the combat system a 10 out of 10. The combat system is amazing. I highly recommend you just picking up the game on sale. Let me repeat that, on sale. Just for the gameplay. Story is not great in any way. The voice acting is a bit of an ear piercer, but I stuck through it with the combat, and there's still a bunch of stuff to do after the game. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. I might do this pretty soon again. So, anyways, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the No Outlet podcast. It's been me, Taylor, and I'll talk to you guys later.